Good morning. How are you all? Good. I'm Cindy Leitman. I am a very joyful congregant of this beautiful, beautiful place. And I welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living-Tacoma, those in this room and those online. Our musicians today include Benny Yangco on the clarinet, Terry O'Hara on piano. Our special guest musician is Anjali Silva. Our audiovisual team up there in the window is Erik Perrohe and Ronald. Our practitioners today are Mona Williams on platform and Laura Lee Bentel holding consciousness in the back of the room. In the month of December, our Sunday messages center around belonging and community. Today's message will be given by Pam Miliozzi, one of our very special practitioners. Is there anyone here for their first time today? Nope? Okay. Before we begin the service, I would like to again remind everybody here and at home who we are and what we believe. The Center for Spiritual Living is a loving, peaceful, and joyful spiritual community with a shared set of values, principles, and practices. At the core of our belief is the existence of a single source, which we call God or Spirit. This source inspires, guides, supports, and nurtures our individual awakening and our day-to-day reality. This loving consciousness desires only the highest and greatest good for creation. We embody the understanding of our oneness with this source. We are committed to individual transformation and to being a beneficial presence on the planet. And now I will ask Mona to start our service with an opening prayer and meditation.
Good morning. So our meditation this morning comes from Marianne Williamson's Year of Miracles. So I ask, if you like, close your outer eyes and let's get centered. On bringing light to the world. God and man are the ultimate creative team. God is like electricity. A house can be wired for it, but if there aren't any light fixtures, what good does that do? If God is seen as electricity, then we are his lamps. It doesn't matter the size of the lamp, or its shape or design. All that matters is that it gets plugged in. It doesn't matter who we are or what our gifts are. All that matters is that we are willing to be used in his service. Our willingness, our conviction, give us a miraculous power. The servants of God bear the imprint of their master. Lamps without electricity cast no light, and electricity without lamps casts no light either. Together, however, they cast out all darkness and bring light to all the world. And our mantra today is, I shine my light everywhere I go. 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 And as we bring our attention back into this room, remembering the servants of God bear the imprint of their master. Lamps without electricity cast no light, and electricity without lamps casts no light either. Together, however, they cast out darkness and bring light to all the world. And so today, this beautiful day, this day of light, this day of joy, this day of grace, this day of forgiveness, abundance and prosperity, this day of life itself is God. God is the electricity flowing through every person in this room, through our speaker today, Ms. Pam Miliozzi. I'm knowing that the light of God is working magnificently in, as, and through her. And as I know this truth for Pam, I know this truth for myself, and I know this truth for each person that is within this room and that can hear my voice. I'm knowing that God is all there is. And so I declare that this day of grace, this day of peace, this day of joy, is fully inspired with the message that we receive today, with the music that we hear, because there's a message in the music as well, as it inspires us, as it warms our soul. I say thank you, God. Thank you for this day. Thank you for Pam. Thank you for Terry and Anjali and Benny. Thank you for our ushers. Thank you for our practitioners. Thank you for our host. Thank you for each person that is here today, that decided to face the weather and come and have their hearts filled with inspiration and joy and knowledge. I say thank you for all of this, Father, Mother God, and so much more. And so now I release my word into the full activity of love and law, knowing that what I've declared is already done, knowing that my word will not return to me void. I release, I let go, and I anchor this by saying, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see all your faces here. I'm going to start with a Ladino Hanukkah song called Ocho Kandelikas, which is 8 candles of light. And if you want to sing along, please feel free to. Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 candelas para ti. Hanukkah linda está muchas fiestas vou fazer, com alegria e prazer. Muchas fiestas vou fazer, com alegria e prazer. Oh, here we go. Una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para ti. Los pastelicos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Los pastelicos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Whoa, here we go. Una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas. Una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para ti. Happy Hanukkah next week.
So our reading today is from 365 Days of Richard Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. I see God in everything, personified in all people, manifest in every event. Jesus said, "Give, and you shall be given." All the great scriptures have announced this central and transcendent truth, realizing that every act carries with it a sequence, bringing the results of this action back to the self. This is what is meant by karma. For karma means the fruit of action. Emerson called the law of compensation, and Jesus proclaimed the same law in his teaching, that as we sow, so shall we reap. This is why Kwanzaa tells us that the more we give to others, the more we have. Whitman also refers to this when he says, the gift is most of the giver and comes back most to him. This all means the return of the self to itself. The great apostle did not tell us to forget the self. He merely told us to always remember everyone else. That is, we are to see ourselves, each in the other, and behold God in all. Hermes tells us that when we realize love as the great harmony, we shall sing the praise of God. Before we can do this, we must perceive this harmony in each other and in everything. Thus, everything separated is united at the root. Overall, in all, and through all. The sustaining beauty of the inevitable and seed of perfection, to which Browning referred as nestling at the center of our being. I see God in everything, personified in all people, manifest in every event. The spirit is not separated from the person or the event. It unites itself to itself, vitalizing each with the energy of its own being, creating each through its own divine imagination. I, too, am an instrument of its perfection, and today I recognize my union, which is perfect and complete.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. If you know the song, go ahead and sing. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Thank you, Anjali. It's one of my favorite songs. I chose that. Thank you. And I'm so delighted when Anjali and I talked, we talked about her choosing 2 Hanukkah songs. And I said, oh, it would be wonderful. And I've had the privilege to just have dear Hanukkah friends in my life that have influenced me. The Jewish faith is just so beautiful. So I want to thank you for offering to do that. And good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. I'm delighted to be with you this morning. This is my first talk to the congregation, so. But I'm so blessed to be among beloveds. And you know, I thought, let's get started with a couple of little cute kid jokes. So, here's our first one. There was a lady who invited some guests for dinner. At the table, she turned to her 6-year-old daughter and said, would you like to say the blessing? And the little girl said, but Mommy, I don't know what to say. She said, just say what Mommy says. So the little girl thought for a moment, reverently bowed her head and said, dear Lord, why did I invite all of these people for dinner? And then there were the 2 7-year-old twin boys, so mischievous. Trouble followed them everywhere. Drove Mommy crazy. They were always in trouble. They were like a trouble magnet. Wherever they went, there was trouble. Oh, there was notes home from the teacher. There were complaints from the neighbors. They were in trouble all the time, and she could not control her twins. Finally, out of desperation, she contacted the pastor of her church. And she said, could you talk to my boys? I just don't know what I'm going to do. They're always in trouble. He said, sure, I'll talk to them, one at a time. So he arranged for them to come in. So the one little twin is waiting out in the little outer office, brings in the other little boy. Little boy walks into this big office, sits in this chair that's really too big for him, and he's looking a little bit frightened. And the pastor says, have you found Jesus? Little boy looks very scared. His eyes widen. He's very quiet. And he says, did you hear me? Have you found Jesus? And the little boy gets up and runs out of the room. He goes in, and his brother is there, and he says, what happened? And he says, oh, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Jesus is missing. They think we took him. So with that, we'll go on today's message. No, I am a wee bit anxious, I'll admit that. But a person that I have always admired is Eleanor Roosevelt. And she has some great quotes. I think she's a woman so ahead of her time. And I have a quote on my desk that reads, do the thing you think you cannot do. And I have another little magnet on my refrigerator that says, do the one thing each day that scares you. Well, Eleanor, here we go. So our December theme is living everyday wonder, community. And the following quote is from the Center for Spiritual Living. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging. A world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. And my topic for today is community. Into we see. So in preparing today's talk, I gave the word community a lot of thought and contemplation. What is community? Well, Webster's dictionary defines community as a group of people forming a smaller social unit within a larger one and sharing common interest, work, identity, location, etc. What do you consider to be your community? Your family, your friendships, your neighbors, acquaintances, colleagues with whom you work? What about our spiritual home right here, where we gather with like-minded beloveds and we learn from one another? And what is meant to by into we see? Well, I believe that it means to look inward, to look into the heart, into the soul, into that place where God resides, right here, deep. That to me is looking inward. I'd like to share a bit of my personal story, if I may. I had never really felt a deep feeling of community with the churches that I had attended throughout my life, and many of which I became a member. I went regularly. I loved the people. Everyone was nice. The traditions were beautiful. The sermons were great. But there was always something lacking, and I never knew what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. So in 1994, I completely stepped away from going to church. I thought there has to be something out there that speaks to me. There has to be something. And of course, I felt a void, a sense of loss, because I'd usually always gone to church. But I was looking for something and I didn't know what it was. So in 1995, in the spring of 1995, while spending a weekend with a group of dear friends from high school, I was invited to attend the Church of Religious Science in Palm Desert, California. And I went. And I was absolutely mesmerized by the love, the laughter, the joy, the community, the happiness that just absolutely just echoed through the building. And the talk that Dr. Tom Costa gave that day was absolutely electrifying. And I left and I thought, I just found my church, but I live like 100 miles away. So I immediately went in, 1995, you went into the phone book, the actual phone book. I was looking up churches, and I discovered the Pleasant Valley Church of Religious Science, and we started going. And I invited Nick to go with me, and I said, now, this is kind of a little bit different than the Catholic Church. Just want to kind of let you know. So he went with me because he's so good, and he went along, and we both fell in love with it. And I immediately began taking classes, went regularly, became very, very active in our little community, and I knew I was home. I was with my community, and I've never looked back. I've never looked back. So, I would like to just share with you how important it is to be in community, and what does it really mean to be in community. Who we acknowledge as being part of our community is a vital part of creating community. When we see people in our community as outside or fail to see them at all, we limit the possibilities for our own greater whole. Whatever the perceived differences, there is untold value in making genuine connections with all people, regardless of their background, their ethnicity, their life choices. By examining the people in our circle, in this spiritual center, and in our community as a whole, we may discover who may be missing from the conversation. Let us use whatever reveals itself as an opportunity to actively engage in the practice of inclusiveness so that diversity can be reflected. I would like to share just a small portion of the book Community, The Structure of Belonging by Peter Brock. Community offers the promise of belonging and calls for us to acknowledge our interdependence. To belong is to act as an investor, an owner, and creator of this place. To be welcomed, even if we are strangers, as if we came to the right place and are affirmed for that choice. To feel a sense of belonging is important because it will lead us from conversations about safety and comfort to other conversations, such as those about relatedness and willingness to provide hospitality and generosity. Hospitality is the welcoming of strangers, and generosity is extending an offer with no expectation of return. These are the two elements that we want to nurture as we work to create, strengthen, and restore our communities. What does community feel like? What does it feel like? What does it feel like inside? I believe that it feels like home. It feels like belonging, acceptance, and love, where we feel safe, supported, with no judgment. When Nick and I made the decision to move to Washington a year ago, we knew we were entering unfamiliar territory. However, the love and acceptance that we have experienced right here at CSL Tacoma, we know we made the right choice. We know we did. And as now we've moved into our new little house and we're in a new community, we're meeting people, and our community is expanding and growing, and we are truly home. So when we examine our lives, when we look inward, we do begin to see, how can I be in community? How can I give more so that I may receive? And I invite you to become curious about community. I love the word curious, which means to learn and know. By being curious about the community in which we live and interact, we can make a marvelous impact, which leads to diversity and inclusion. Diversity is the existence of differences. It includes all the ways we are different from one another. Inclusion is the environment or culture we create when we recognize, honor, and utilize the diversity within a given group. Inclusion is not automatic. It requires deliberate intention and consistent action. Jean Vanier, might be Vanier, who is the Canadian founder of an international federation of communities to assist people with developmental disabilities, states, one of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and help people in a way we couldn't as individuals. A very close and dear friend of mine, who is a retired nurse and a trained grief counselor, shared with me that she decided to serve meals at a homeless center on Thanksgiving Day, just this past Thanksgiving. It brought her such joy that she had a conversation with the leader of this particular homeless shelter and told him that she would like to do more volunteer work. Well, they had a long discussion, and he invited her to work with civic leaders on a project that is proving quite successful in assisting homeless individuals into training and work programs with the goal of gaining employment and moving into permanent housing. Her excitement, her enthusiasm, her joy was just so palatable over the phone. She is so excited about this opportunity to be able to serve and give and be able to share her gifts and her life experiences and her training. I felt her joy in giving back. This is community, and this is looking inward. The following little story here is from the Center for Spiritual Living, our home office, and this is a true story. Karen didn't have much experience with people of differing abilities. When her 6-year-old daughter became friends with the girl next door, the girl's sister was 10 years old and in a wheelchair, unable to speak, feed, or clothe herself. Karen got to know the mother and the girl. Speak to her like you would a six-month-old, her mother said, and Karen did. As she did, a quiet relationship developed. She received extra smiles when she arrived and attempts to reach out and laugh. By the time the girl was in high school, technology had devised a tool where she could press a button in response to images projected on a screen in the classroom. Not only did the technology help the girl feel engaged, it helped other children see her as whole, and her circle of friends expanded. So how can each of us expand our community? How can we look inward to see? What vision does each of us have to play a role? Perhaps we can identify for ourselves a way that we could expand in service. Perhaps we could join that group that we've thought about. Serve in a way and something that we thought, that might be something I'd be interested in doing. We have one of our members right here, serves once a week at the shelter and holds kitties every single week because that brings her such joy. There are just so many ways to serve and be in community. So let's think about that group that maybe has piqued our curiosity. We've thought about it. In the words of Margaret Mead, a small group of committed people can make a difference and change the world. One of the many, many attributes that I admire and deeply respect about the Center for Spiritual Living and our teaching is our diversity and how we live what we teach. Diversity is a human attribute. It is one of the qualities of life with an infinite variety of expressions. As our world has become smaller, thanks in a big part to technology, we have expanded our awareness of the full range of human diversity. We are no longer enclaves to sameness. We have been given the gift of seeing into the full kaleidoscope of the human experience through such things as medical advancements, increased immigration, and the full expression of human rights, which ask us to look at our own communities through the lens of others when examining the rights at home, at work, access to shelter, and more. So I encourage each of us to examine the beloveds right here in our center. Those in your own circle, perhaps even in your own family, who may be missing from the conversation. Let us use whatever reveals itself as an opportunity to engage in the practice of inclusiveness first, so that diversity can be reflected. By practicing curiosity in interactions, with deeper and richer relationships are developed. Curiosity expresses a genuine interest in another person's lived experience of the world while checking our own assumptions or biases. This has been such a beautiful opportunity to be here today, to be able to give this talk. And in closing, I'm delighted to share a quote from Marianne Williamson. And thank you, Mona, for your beautiful words, for your reading from her. I wish to be more. Dear God, may every aspect of my being be converted to truth. May every cell fall into place and serve a higher plan. I no longer wish to be who I was. I wish to be more. And so I encourage you to embrace your community, to embrace CSL Tacoma, to embrace your family, your neighbors, your acquaintances, your loved ones, and look for those who may be missing from the conversation. Let us be more, for it is in giving that we receive. I wish you a week of joy. I wish you a week of community. I wish you a week of love. And I am so grateful. I send you my love. Thank you. And so it is.
Sing along with me if you know this one. I feel like I should have a little green frog on my shoulder or something. Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. One day we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Everybody, la 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 la. Thank you.
I'd like to ask the blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. I'd like to ask the ushers to come down, please. So everybody, please join me in saying our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Pam, for that wonderful message. And so as Benny was just playing, another song came to my mind. My God is an awesome God. He reigns. And this is a healing prayer. So just thinking of that, my God is an awesome God. I know that there is one power, one presence, one love, one healing power, and that is God. And I know that I am one with God, and I know, as I know this truth for myself, I know this truth for every person in this room. I know this truth as I listen to the music, then know that that is God speaking through that artist, through our artists, Terry and Anjali and Benny. I know that the light of God and the presence of God is working magnificently as and through Pam Miliozzi. I know that the healing power of God is working in, as, and through me, right here, right now. And as I speak my word, saying, Father, Mother God, heal my aches, heal my pains, fill the coffers. Let me be that light. Let me be that healing balm in community where I feel that if I see that someone else is standing on the outside, that I can bring them in the inside and know that here is home. This is community. I say thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you for being an awesome God. Thank you for healing, taking away my aches and pains, giving me family, giving me community. I'm just saying thank you, Father, Mother God, for this day, for the musicians, for the ushers, for the practitioners. Thank you for each person that is right here in this room that is listening in on this service. I say thank you, God, for this and so much more. And so now I release my word into the full activity of love and law, knowing that what I've declared will not return to me void, knowing that it is done. I release my word, I let go, I let God, and I anchor this by saying, and so it is.
So we have a few announcements, just 572. It'll take a few moments, but I hope you're patient. So, first of all, I want to acknowledge again our practitioners, our spiritual coaches, as they're now called, and they're ready and willing to help you navigate solutions to change and transitions with affirmative prayer, which is the type of prayer that we practice and teach here. They have received up to 4 years of training before becoming certified, and their primary goal is to pray with us, individually and collectively. Join them in the prayer room, that little room back there, at the end of service for a brief prayer circle. And you can also contact a practitioner individually if you would so like. I believe their phone numbers are on the website and also back at the table. So during our Christmas season, please join us for special services. We have a Christmas Eve service and a New Year's Eve service, and both of them start at 6:30 p.m. And this year, Christmas Day and New Year's Day both fall on a Sunday. So what does that mean? It means that we have services here on those 2 days, reflecting those 2 very important days. On December 25th, we will have a Taizé service. Have any of you ever been to a Taizé service? They're just beautiful. Sacred songs and readings and meditations, and we wish to thank each and every congregant who has signed up to participate in this very beautiful and moving service. If you've never experienced a Taizé service, please come and join us. It's very much worth your time. It's just a beautiful, beautiful service. And speaking of volunteers, we are gathering interested folks for several CSL Tacoma teams starting in 2023, so we're going to be ready for 2023. And these teams include hospitality, usher-greeter, facilities, marketing and outreach, birthdays, and compassionate care. In the back on the table, there's a sign-up sheet for any of these. Please do sign up, get involved. The way to feel what community is like here is to get involved. It's such a wonderful way to receive by giving. There will also be a free intentions workshop on January 1st, 2023. That service will be led by our interim minister, Reverend Karen. It starts at 10:30, and this will be in lieu of our regular service for the day. This workshop will give you a chance to clarify your personal intentions for the next year and give you a head start on making the changes in your life you have been hoping to make. And under Reverend Karen's guidance and love, you will make the most of the time that you have here on that day. Please do come. This is going to be really, really great. January also promises to be energetic. My mouth isn't working today. Thank you. I need a little encouragement. January promises to be energetic and fun. Reverend Karen will be here in person on January 14th, 15th, giving a workshop on how to experience unlimited abundance. Who does not want to experience unlimited abundance? One person in our audience, so I expect to see everybody here for that workshop. We're also planning a dinner with the minister fundraiser that evening. I'm not sure what that means. Hopefully we're going to find out more about that. But be sure to mark your calendar for both days, as Reverend Karen will lead the service on Sunday as well. Justin, our treasurer for the Board of Trustees, has a new discussion group that's going to start January 20th at 5 p.m., focusing on The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron. Justin, you want to say something?
Thank you. Good morning. I think I see a few new people in the audience that I don't recognize, so welcome. So I was asked to speak again today about the Artist's Way, and I'm thinking, how can I top last week? Because I thought last week was a pretty cool announcement. But one of the memes that we actually posted on our Instagram was a meme that said, the planet doesn't need more successful people. The planet desperately needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, and storytellers and lovers of all kind. So in that vein, what I'd like to talk about is what Pam kind of spoke about, is that we have twin mischievous critics in our head. They've been around for centuries. One of them constantly criticizes what we do as not being good enough, and another one constantly criticizes and judges and assesses our work against others. The Artist's Way is an incredible course that you begin to remove those blockages from your own creativity. Last week I spoke about the left brain and the right brain, the different characteristics of a brain, but no matter how you would characterize yourself in that spectrum, just remember, there's only one mind, and there's only one heart, and there's only one peace amongst us all, and we all share that with each other. So please go online, look, register yourself. It's a free course for the community and for our membership. There is a requested $5 donation per class just to help cover the cost here. My vision is 20 people participating, looking at themselves and unleashing that creativity that's given to us by our divine right. Right now, we have 13 people who are registered, and not a single one of you yet. So I know this course is going to be amazing, because this is the gift that we're giving to the community of Tacoma as a demonstration of who we are in our global vision of one heart. Thank you.
We got to sign up? Okay. All right. Is Doug here? Doug? He's not here. Okay. So Doug is a CSL practitioner and a counselor, and he's going to lead a workshop called Supercharge Your Spiritual Practice, featuring Christian musical meditation and prayer. And that is on Saturday, February 11th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you, again, go online. I think there's more detail online about the class. Okay, that wasn't too bad, 512 in 3 minutes. That was pretty good. Does anybody have a birthday this week? Nobody has a birthday this week? Okay. So, Anjali, let's do our closing song.
This is a Brazilian Christmas song. Getting in the spirit. Little out of tune is okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anoiteceu, o sino gemeu, a gente ficou feliz a cantar. Papai Noel, vê se você tem a felicidade pra você me dar. Eu pensei que todo mundo fosse filho de Papai Noel. Bem assim, felicidade. Eu pensei que fosse uma brincadeira de papel. Já faz tempo que eu pedi, mas o meu Papai Noel não vem. Com certeza já morreu, ou então felicidade é brinquedo que não tem. Anoiteceu, o sino gemeu, a gente ficou feliz a cantar. Papai Noel, vê se você tem a felicidade pra gente cantar. Eu pensei que todo mundo fosse filho de Papai Noel. Bem assim, felicidade. Eu pensei que fosse uma brincadeira de papel. Já faz tempo que eu pedi, mas o meu Papai Noel não vem. Com certeza já morreu, ou então felicidade é brinquedo que não tem. Anoiteceu, anoiteceu, Papai Noel is Santa Claus, of course.
And now we're going to sing the peace song. So would everybody please stand and take hold of your neighbor's hand across the aisle if you're able. Oh, I should also say the service is over. Thank you for coming.